you, as a designer, like when you're making garments, what are you thinking about when you're creating these pieces? Like, what do you want your women to feel?
First, I want my woman to feel confident. Always. Whatever she's wearing, I always want her to feel confident. I want her to feel like the parts that she wants to come out are coming out. So if you want your waist to be accentuated, I want your waist to be accentuated. Like, if you don't want anything too form-fitting except for at the top, you know what I mean? And I love me something that makes me feel like a princess, because I'm really a princess in real life. So anything, it depends on the occasion that I'm designing for. So for example, the collection that we did last, that was inspired by a song by Burna Boy, and I wanted it to give luxury on a Caribbean island or on a yacht or something fancy but still like breathable and very much summer, right? So it depends on the concept, the idea behind it, and sometimes what occasion it is for. Like if it's something for myself, most likely I'm gonna do more dramatic than if it's for a client, because sometimes clients don't want to go that much further out of their comfort zone, and sometimes the occasion that they want it for is not that extravagant. You know, so it's different if they want something for a red carpet or for just a birthday dinner that is not their birthday, you know, because they're not gonna overdo it to where they're outshining the birthday person.
That's so true.
You know, so it all kind of depends on who am I designing for, what is the occasion, and what is the comfort level, and then also the vision that I'm having, because sometimes I have a vision of what I want to design, but when I'm dealing with a client, I have to be very mindful of how would they want to be seen when they wear this, you know? Like sometimes they have an idea of what they want and they just want me to make it. Now I'll always like doing that, because sometimes they'll just have a picture and they want something exactly the same. And that makes me feel like as a designer, I don't want to copy somebody else's work. You know, for one, I feel like I'm just stealing a design, and two, the way it came out for this person who's wearing it might not come out for you, because your body might not, you know, look good in it, because you know what I mean, we have different shapes. So if the dress is great on somebody with like an hourglass, and you have more like a straight shape, like a, what is it, like a rectangular shape, for example, you know, it's not gonna fit the same. And a lot of times people forget that the dress does not come with the body.
She needs a moment. That was good. Each sold separately, but we're not selling the body. Sorry,
we're not selling the body, only the dress. So you know, we have to be mindful of all of those things. And then besides that, sometimes when somebody has made a dress already and you're trying to copy it, you don't know how they constructed it. You don't know if they did boning or if they did specific seams or what material they used to create the shape. Because sometimes a dress can also help shape, right? But if we have something that you know, we didn't do all the extra measures, the person's gonna be like, well, my body is the same, but the dress doesn't look the same. But it's like, well, I don't know how they made their pattern. You know what I mean? So there's so many reasons as to why I don't want to copy somebody else's work outside of it being low-key theft, high-key theft.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, and it's easy for people to just be like, I mean, if you want Shein and Fashion Nova, just say that. We can do fast fashion at the store. But if you're asking a designer to design something for you, then I think it's the least we can do to consider like not limiting your creativity, you know, because I feel like that when you say I want this, you're limiting everything that you could possibly be.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very true. And besides that, we also talk about price, because sometimes they see something and they can actually order it, but they don't want to spend that coin, but think that I'm gonna do it for $100. No, ma'am.
She knows your worth. Know your worth.
Know your worth. Because if you want to have this look and it costs like $1,000, and you're not willing to spend $1,000 with them, but you want me to come make the exact same thing, so you're asking me to help you cheat them out of their money for their design and their idea. That's not fair.
Wow.
That's not fair.
No.
Not to them and not to me.
Wow. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, she said another word. I love that. And it's so important. Like, I won't say I got it from my daddy, but kind of, yeah. Because growing up, although we lived in the suburbs, my parents were very much like, we were on a very strict budget because we had to pay this house off. We got 3 kids. We have college. We have daycare. We have elementary. We have life to pay for, things that are breaking down. So although we lived in a nice house, we were still out to eat with a budget of $10 per kid. I remember being on a budget at the age of like 6 or, well, up until kids could eat for free, right? So after that, after we had to start paying for the kids, now it's like, all right, $10.25 is your budget. So I was like embedded. It was embedded in my brain that, that was my budget for life in a way. So I never really went outside of like, this is my budget. And even when it came to like dating, I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna try to keep it under like $15. And he's like, get what you want. I'm just like, I don't know how to do that. Get what I want. Just add extra things like appetizers, drinks that aren't water with lemon and sweet mo. What? Okay. So I think when it comes to clothing, I've also had to like think about things differently. Like, okay, if you can afford luxury, do you need luxury? Do you want luxury? Like, what are the prices and what are you paying for? So for me, if I'm gonna pay for luxury, if I'm gonna pay a high price, I'd rather pay someone that I know did the work. I want to pay someone that I know I can shake their hand, give them a hug, and be like, oh, thank you so much. Like, if I'm gonna pay that much money, I'm probably not gonna be at Gucci and Dior anytime soon. I'd rather go to my friends that I know worked for it and are like working to build the bridge of that luxury feel in pricing, you know. So
that's really good.
But now we getting to it.
Yeah, we get in there.
Still got a long ways to go mentally training ourselves. Yeah,
that's good.
Thank you.
In the beginning, you were talking about when you were styling clients in the store.
Yeah.
So which one of your clients was actually like your ideal client and why?
My ideal client, just in general, or from the store?
From the store's perspective and then into real life.
Honestly, I would say people that already knew what they wanted, people that already have a vision have always been my favorite to work with. People that don't know what they want and they're just like, style me, it gives me a panic attack because I'm like, what do you want? Like, it's like you pull up to a drive-thru and be like, hey, give me food. It's like, but what do you want? Like, the menu is right here. It's like, well, I want just pick something for me. Like, I don't know what you like. If I give you a chicken sandwich and you're a vegan, then I can't do anything with that. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
So I like to work with people that, more so brands. I've learned that working with brands, they typically have an idea of who and what they want to, or the feeling that they want to give to their clients, their future clients. So it just helps overall to minimize the workload of, okay, so do you want to do this, or this? It's more so, okay, I can compact this down to like these very specific places that I will shop for you, you know?
Yeah, that's really good. That makes sense. Yeah. And so how do you actually start styling a client? Do you have a specific process that you stick to, or
just wing it?
You just wing it?
No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't. So it's still like an ongoing figuring it out thing because every client is a client to client basis. You know, like everyone needs different things at different levels. Some people are like, I know exactly what I want. Some people are like, I got you, I trust you. Okay, so you have those two different people that's like very walk me through their process, and then some people are so busy they don't have time for me to walk them through the process. It's always gonna be like a free 30-minute call with the client to see where their head is at. Do they know what they want? Do they have a budget? What is your ideal person? So I give them a quick survey to take at the beginning so that it kind of helps me to ask the right questions when we actually do have a conversation. Once we do that, then I can either go to their homes. I've done virtual tours of their closets, but it again depends on, am I redoing your closet, building it from scratch, or am I just doing something for a photo shoot, which is a one-off thing? Or is it a birthday, like again, one-off? Or is it a brand shoot, which is gonna be multiple looks, multiple vibes? So everything that I do has just been like trial and error because I've just gotten so much of so many different things. I'm like, we gotta figure out if we want to be super niche with it, and then also am I so passionate about it, because it's like sometimes I find myself being more into doing my brunches because I feel like it just really involves all of my skill sets versus styling, which is just very specific. Like, I'm just shopping, I'm just asking questions and returning and taking a step back. Like, I don't mind doing that.
Right.
I still love it, but it's also finding ways to make it easier.
Okay.
I think that would be like the next step, is how do I make my process easier and more effective for my clients.
Awesome. So how do you incorporate styling with your brunches?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I would say my initial goal is to be like more of a public speaker, to be more not even so much a stylist, but more so a consultant, because I feel like I'm consulting with you because you probably already have what you need. I'm just helping you think through it, you know. So a lot of people don't have clothes, like, I just don't know what to put with. I'm like, okay, so put this, this, and this together, and this is why. I'm not just gonna do the work for you. I want you to see why I'm choosing these things. Does your shoe coordinate with your belt? Does your belt coordinate with your earrings? Does your purse coordinate with your other accessories? Like, having some kind of color unity and cohesiveness makes it flow. That's why it looks good, and that's why that looks trash. So I think for me, it's been finding ways that I can talk about style, but more so self-discovery. So the brunches, I do speak about. I think the last one I did, that was probably the most I've actually spoken about what I do and what I'm about. The previous ones have been like just figuring out what the heck I'm doing, because I was like, I've never done a brunch before prior to this with all these people involved. So it's, again, being 1 year out has been a lot of, okay, we are figuring out a system, and now that we figure out a system, we can relax and actually talk about what I do, because I feel like I have a lot to offer to people that don't know what direction they want to go in, whether it be with style or with life, but relationships to some degree. I'm single, so I don't know how that really like corresponds, but you know, just helping people get started is like my biggest thing. And if you can start with fashion, that also ties back into your mentality of how you think about things, how you think about life. So, long story long. I'll work on shortening things down one day. Audiobook on the way.
That's amazing.
That's at this point. Speed it up. Get to the point. I feel like I talk a lot.
No, you don't. I love that, because that's how you get to know people. That's how you learn things. You know what I mean? I think that whenever people speak, it comes from the heart. So whatever they have, whether it's something that you can learn and apply to your own life, or whether it's you just being a listening ear, because sometimes you're the only outlet that they might have for however long it has been for them, you know? So I think that it's always great when people talk a lot. I can talk a lot too.
I was gonna say.
It's either I'm super quiet or I'm super talkative.
Yes. It depends.
There's hardly ever an in between.
Does your family or any of like your close family members talk a lot? Is that where you get it from? What you said?
I know that my grandfather was very quiet. Very quiet.
Around the right people. The right people will get you out of your shell.
Yeah.
Like, I'm that kid. I'm the baby. My mom knows. I used to start doing interviews with my mom.
Okay.
Like, we talk about like, okay, so how did you and daddy meet, and like, what's your relationship goals? So we would do stuff like this, and I record it. It's still on my Instagram. Just scroll all the way to the bottom because it's like 2020 material. And I learned that if I can get my mom to be on camera, and she hates being on camera, and she hates taking photos, I mean, she's warming up to the process. We've been working on it. But if I can get her out of her shell, and she's not a hermit, but she's just very reserved. And that's when I feel like, okay, maybe I could do something with other people to get them to feel more confident in working up the courage to be speakers, because another part of like the brunches and clothing is to build up people's confidence. Like, you have something to say, whether it's you saying it with how you dress or you physically talking. I feel like everyone has something to add value to in this space that you're in. If you're going to take up space, add value to it. You know? So some people I've asked to speak and they're like, I just don't have anything to say. I'm like, yes, if I'm asking you, I've already seen it in you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be asking the question for you to come here and speak and feel like you have nothing to say.
Exactly.
I just would ask someone else.
Right.
And some people just, they in their mind just aren't ready for that. And I'm just like, well, when you're ready, the offer's still on the table. Or some people are too busy, which again, I get that. It just kind of depends on the timing, but you know, when opportunities happen for you, I think it's important that you take that chance on yourself and also create spaces. Like there wasn't a space where anyone was asking me to do speaking engagements, so I created one.
That's great.
So
that's great advice too.
So if you are creating this space
Yeah.
because you want to be like, if this is what you want to do, like talk to more people, you created that space already. So all it's just a matter of having people on your platform that can also increase the visibility.
Yeah, that is right. But for a long time, people would always ask me, what is your story? And I was like, I don't have a story. And it wasn't that I really didn't have a story. It was just that whatever was my story, I didn't see it as a story. I didn't see it as it stands out from everybody else's. I saw it as everybody has life, and so do I. And there's nothing special about what I'm dealing with or what I have been through. And talking to multiple people and like them getting to know me and them pointing out this is your story or this is so special about you or you know what I mean. So sometimes maybe those people haven't realized how special they are yet. You know, sometimes it's just like they just walk through life like this and they don't know what makes them them. You know,
which is all about fashion. You know, you know, people will wear what I've seen. People will say, like you said, I want to look like this. I'm like, but why? Why do you want to look like that? That's not even your, like, what's your personality? Like, what's your favorite color? And, like, everything that you're telling me is the opposite of this photo that you're showing that you want to look like. And I find it so fascinating because I'm just like, so who are you? Like, my mom is so opposite of what I thought she was going to be as a kid from an adult. It's like two different people. For her birthday, she turned 70. She's like, yeah, I like purple. I'm like, but you never wear purple. So what? So what? I'm sorry, what? So we're doing all these things for her birthday, and it's just like we're discovering who she is. And I had never seen that side of my mom.
right.
Because she's always been my mom. And just to celebrate herself, for her to just be like, this is about me. I'm like, I'm taking you to get your makeup done. You're going to get your hair done. Like, for her to be that person was like her being herself, not a mom to me. And I love seeing that version of her because she's just like, okay, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I'm like, yes, mom, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get pampered and loved on like that. Not that my dad doesn't do that, but you know, it's just different when you do it for yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
it is.
So
it makes a difference. So how do you typically express yourself in fashion? Or what in fashion shows your personality best?
I think when I started like being more intentional about what I dress like, I did have a vision board.
Okay.
So I have people that Jackie Aina, I love her personally. Like everything she does, I feel like is flawless. There's just people that I studied how they dress and then how they get results. Like, okay, so she dressed like this, she does these things, and this is how she shows up, and then this is what is produced from that. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, cool. So how can I make that me? So it's like I'll still might dress similar to that, but I'll still put like we wearing orange today because orange makes me feel good about life. It makes me feel more vibrant. So I think about where I want to go. I think about how I want to feel. And then just all in all, what's clean in the closet? Because it's a lot of clothes in there, honey. It's a lot of clothes in that closet, and it's a lot of laundry. So sometimes it results in me buying more things. Yeah.
That's the most adulting thing ever.
It's like, okay, so
it's like laundry never stops.
It never stops. I mean, one day I'm gonna get a maid. That is for certain. My husband needs to just know we're getting a maid, not because I can't clean. It's not that I can't. It's because working in retail has truly drained me. It drained me every day because working in a store where you have to fold all day, every day, like day after day. Oh my gosh. It's like you still, and like you would fold the shirt and then someone would come and unfold the shirt.
1 second later.
I almost snatch people like
it's like you're right there. right there folding it, and here they come right next to you.
Look, can I just get that? Actually, what size do you need? What size do you need?
Let me get it for you.
I literally just put it in size order, so I would know.
Karate chopping.
PTSD, y'all. You don't. If you are not a soldier, don't get into retail because you'll make everyone else's life miserable.
It's not for the weak.
Mm-mm.
I remember at Forever 21, there was this red shirt, and that made me realize how retail is. Honestly, this red shirt was hanging up, and we would like redo the store, and now from here it would hang up here, right? So people would come in, pick it up. Somehow the shirt is on the floor. The shirt ends up in the fitting room. The shirt is being hung up again on the floor, in the fitting room, on the floor, on the rack, on the floor, in the fitting room. That same shirt for like a whole until we decided nobody's buying this shirt, and it was the last one of that red one.
Yeah.
And it was like this shirt done sweep the entire floor at this point.
It's got dust on it. Got dust on it.
And they would just shake it off, hang it back up.
Okay. So it's literally okay. So I feel your pain. We had our jean walls. So Hollister is known for jeans, Abercrombie, whatever you call them. Folding jeans, and don't let it be back to school, Black Friday, or Christmas. I feel like my worst store, like when it came to just people trashing it, was in Charlotte. Like I've never seen people go through clothes and knock them on the ground like that. Like stacks of clothes on the ground, and I'm just like, bro, pick it up. Like you saw, like it's just the human courtesy doesn't exist in retail, and that also helps you to understand people. Like if you are in a space where I don't feel like I really need to go to school for a lot of things, because I feel like people and just people watching taught me a lot about how to get over on people that take advantage. Like they would just come in and switch tags of clothes and try to return the more expensive thing to get the most money back. I'm just like, people come and steal. I've gotten stolen from. I've gotten pushed twice, maybe 3 times, by big people. Not just big people, but just like bigger people than me. I'm just like, y'all pushing me. I've gotten bullied. I've gotten threats. I've gotten phone calls.
That is so crazy.
A lot of things.
So do you have any tips for the fashion viewers as far as fashion and styling goes, like how to get started maybe, or how to continue, how to flourish in the industry?
So I would say getting started is probably my specialty. I love starting things. Finishing and execution is the most important part. Because I think a lot of people will get started and it's just like, so there's a few things I've noticed. You'll either get in your head about starting and never start. You either get started and never finish, or you finish and don't maintain and grow it, right? So I think to cover those 3 things, first off, get out of your head, get out of your feelings, because you're only going against yourself, right? I feel like so many people have so much potential and they never release it to the world. And I want to say Les Brown had this quote about the cemetery is the richest place in the world because people die with their ideas, people die with things that they never allowed to come to life. And so I think about, okay, how can I maximize my day and my time? Because if I'm gonna be on this planet and we are not given another day, another second, another breath, so how can we maximize today? And if that's a post, I can encourage somebody to keep going. If that's me making a video to just show some love and some encouragement, I'm gonna do that. That's me getting started, right? Now, in the midst of it, getting started and actually executing. So depending on your process, write it out. Write out what you want your process to look like for you, but don't stay on the paper. Take your paper and put it into the reality, what you manifest. And what you manifest is really what you focus on, whatever that is. So if you focus on finishing, you focus on seeing it through, that's what's gonna happen. If you focus on, I don't have enough, I need this, what you don't have already, you're gonna stay there. So I just focus on, okay, this is gonna happen. I already set the date. I'm working on everything I need to do to execute that.
Yeah,
And
I like that.
And then growing it and maintaining it.
You're right.
Because once you do it, now it's like this expectation of being successful. And I think that's also intimidating. That was intimidating for me when I first started. It's like, well, what if I get really big and then Oprah wants to sit and talk to me? What are we gonna do? But now I feel good about going to that space. Like, I know what I want out of this more than I did when I first started. So I think just prepare yourself to be successful. Go into it knowing that
prepare yourself to be successful.
You got this. You got this.
I like that. I like that a lot. Prepare yourself to be successful. Because a lot of times we prepare ourselves for anything else, but not necessarily for success. You know, and then sometimes, like you said earlier, when the success comes and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready. You know, but if you're preparing yourself from when you first started, then you don't have to get ready because you're being ready all this time.
Yeah. And preparation means opportunity. They said that's what luck is, but I don't believe in luck. So I just feel like divine timing. When you've been prepping and preparing and going over your notes and all these things and making the connections and all. Once all that has come full, that's why like this year has just been full circle. Because it's like all this time we've been working to get this on the roll. And now we're here, and now it's like, oh, so this is what you do. Well, this has actually always been in me to do. I just never executed and acted on it, you know? Always loved brunch. Always loved like fashion. I just never knew how to connect the two and make it make sense.
Right. And so how did you connect it to make it make sense?
So if you want to go way back. So in 2019, I started my first blog. Which is Victoria, which y'all probably never heard of it because, again, started and never finished. But I did launch, and I just never maintained it because I realized I need to take some steps back so that people can like read it and know where I'm coming from, what I sound like. Because I'm like, I could be like, hey girl, hey, but on paper it's like, hey girl, hey. You know, like, okay, so the exclamation point means something. I need you to emphasize that hey girl, hey, when you see it. So I took some steps back from blogging and decided to start more vlogs and videos. And so it's Victoria Dines on Fashion because I wanted to be my name, Victoria Danielle, and Victoria Danielle Foreman. That's my full name, minus one. And because I love food, I love fashion, and I love talking about how everything's connected within those things. I feel like when you look at food and you look at fashion, every culture is connected to those things, and when you combine them, that's when you really see how much alike we are versus when we're different. Like, you can have some curry chicken in one country and go to another country and it's still curry chicken, but they just twisted one little thing. But I'm like, but we can still enjoy some savory meats together, or not meats. It could be vegetables because you're vegan, so some vegetables, some nice vegetables. So it's something that I really feel like once you sit at the table and you can bring people together to this table, you can have conversations about not just fashion. That's one way I feel like is a staple. I can put like fashion and everyone's like, ooh, fashion. But we're gonna talk about everything that's connected to it, because you think about how fashion affects politics, it affects how you trust a doctor, it affects how you trust a teacher, a real estate agent. Everyone has some kind of look to their career, to their industry. And so I love talking about more things. I feel like fashion is just where we start, and then the food is where we also gather. So yeah.
Do you have anything that you would like to add? Anything that I haven't asked you but you would like to ask me maybe, or tell me, or
I love what you're doing. I was really shocked at this because I was like, you're so like, you're not quiet, but because I met you and you're like, yeah, I'm Nabila. But I was like, I think you left me a voicemail the other day, like last year. And I was like, Nabila? Is that her on the phone? So you're just such a quiet but not quiet person. And I love what you're doing with this space. And I'm so thankful that you asked me to be here, because this is gonna be amazing. And I can't wait to see it like continue to flourish. As far as questions, I would just say like, what inspired you to start this?
What inspired me to start this? So I always wanted to do YouTube, and I started my YouTube channel in 2017. And I started it, but I got very overwhelmed with the editing process, and so I said, you know what, maybe this is not for me. But deep down it was still there. And so I went to a conference for Christian entrepreneurs earlier this year.
Is that the one you're telling me about?
Yes, I think so, with Tiffany Montgomery, Millions Conference.
Yeah.
So when I went there and she started talking about YouTube and being consistent and stuff like that, it inspired me to start back over, or continued rather, and push myself to actually be consistent and post every day. And of course, here and there I miss a day, but I try to like pick back up and maybe do 2 then the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I started doing YouTube again and vlogging, because vlogging is what I really wanted to do. And I have this friend in New York, his name is Corey, and we met in 2018 during Fashion Week. I was actually helping behind the scenes, and so he reached out. He was like, "You should do a podcast," and I'm like, "I am not the podcast kind of girl." I was like, "This is not for me." But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I could do it if I just do interviews with peers. And then I thought, you know what? I'll do fashion designers, I'll do stylists, models, photographers, anybody in the fashion industry, because they all have something in common with me, which is fashion, and we all have something to share with the world. We all have a story of how we got started, but also a way of inspiring people to do what we do and have been doing. And also, one of the biggest things is that when I decided to do fashion, I was actually in law school, and I quit that to do fashion design. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who are stuck to do something that they actually don't love doing, and I want to inspire people to do that what you love to do. Regardless of whether you believe in it yourself, because sometimes you don't yet, but other people see it. You know, and sometimes you're the only one that believes in it, nobody else does. And I was one of those people, like nobody else really believed in it but me. And then later people started to pick up on it and started pushing me, and you know, like here and there I did have people who were like supportive, so even when they didn't believe necessarily, they still pushed me. But for the most part, sometimes it's really hard when you're the only one that believes in what you're seeing, right? But you have to keep going, because you have to like find a way to be your first and biggest cheerleader. And that's how whatever else you do will grow and, you know, inspire others. And so I think that a lot of people are there, like whether it's in a 9 to 5 or something in school, but I don't want to spend my life doing something miserably. Like I want to do something and love doing it. And of course, you know, not every day is going to be like sunshine. Every now and then you're going to have a hard day, but even in your hardest days, you would still want to be happy doing what you're doing, you know, and still be like, okay, if I wake you up at 3 in the morning and say, Victoria, I really need you to come and style me, you know what I mean? You're going to be more likely to do that rather than if I say, Victoria, we really need you to come and solve this, whatever it is with the law. You're going to be like, you called the wrong person.
Okay, Google. Did you don't Google? Right? Yeah, that's so good.
So that's really my inspiration behind this. How were you in terms of style when you were a kid? Were you stylish back then? Did you know that you were going to be a stylist at some point?
I knew.
You knew?
I knew. I actually would design my Barbie's clothes.
Oh wow!
I would cut it. Okay, so I'd take my book covers and I would cut them up, and I learned how to sew a little bit. So I would just like sew it. So they had like mini skirts and tops and stuff. That's how I knew it was like it's in me to do this some kind of way in life. I don't know where it's at. So when I did the Barbie thing, it was like me creating something for myself. So people were like, oh no, you meant I already did this. I just never put it on my human body. I always did it for my dolls. Even like, you know, like every scene had its own thing. So it's like we had your My Scene dolls, you had your Polly Pockets, you had your Barbie.
I love Polly.
You know, you had your Bratz dolls.
And I love Bratz.
They had no feet though. That was always weird to me. Like they don't have no feet for the Bratz dolls. Was it My Scene? My Scene dolls didn't have feet. They just had nubs, and so you just had to put their feet on with their shoes. I thought that was so weird. Like why? Why not? And then their feet would be like this big. So it was like, what's her name? La Cienega from the Proud Family. If their feet would just be like huge. But yeah, I remember my friend was like, girl, come on, we gotta go to the next room, to the next scene. And I was like, wait, I'm trying to get her outfit together. Like I was just so focused on the scene and getting her together. So I feel like if anyone looked back on what I'm doing now from like my childhood, it wouldn't be a surprise. You'd be like, it makes sense. She's always been like that, you know.
So how were you actually sewing these clothes, or were you gluing them?
Probably both. Staples.
Staples.
No, I was actually taking, and because my aunt, she did crochet and knit, so
Okay.
at church on Wednesday night she would teach us how to actually go through and sew things. So we learned how to sew pillowcases
Aw.
and stove things. What do you call those things? Stove mittens. I don't know.
The mittens, I think, or
It's
it's like a
stove thing. Put your pot on it.
yeah,
That thing.
like a coaster, I guess, for
Yes,
pot, something
yes.
like that.
Yeah, I know there's a word for that.
This is specific.
A
word,
coaster
I
for
don't
pots.
know.
I know that side. I'm so sorry.
Look, but I have a defense, okay?
Yes.
English is not my first language. It's like my third.
Which I love that because it's like a whole international like language. So I want to ask a question about that too.
Yeah.
So like, how do you feel like fashion translates into your culture?
How does fashion translate into my culture?
Does that even make sense?
That's a very, very good question. So I'm thinking like Suriname and I'm thinking Amsterdam. Okay, so in Suriname, we have like this specific like cultural dress that we wear, and it was actually enforced by slave masters. So it would be like oversized skirts, and then we would have like these hat wraps. And the reason why they would wear it or be forced to wear it is because a lot of times the slave masters would, rape our women, and then the wives of those masters would be jealous, right? So they actually came up with these garments to like ridicule us, basically. And to this day, we still wear it for like cultural events. And then we had like one of them. It has like these rolls, and the women would then, slaves who would wear it, they would actually like stuff whatever they harvested and put it in there, and then carry it back to wherever. So it became functional. And whatever they had in the head wraps, they would also like stuff it with food and whatever, and then take it back. So to this day, we still have that, and then we have like different modifications to it, and a lot of it is made with like embroidery. So my mom, she was actually a fashion designer before I was even born.
So cute.
It is, and I learned from her. And so she would embroider a lot by hand, and she had like all these beautiful pieces, and so she would always make me clothes too. And then I had a lot of nightgowns, and she would embroider whatever cartoon it is that I love. So I had Piglet, I had Winnie the Pooh, and then it will all be in a color. So the Piglet would be like a nice pink gown, and then Piglet itself would be embroidered in like hot pink. And I loved it. Like at first I didn't like them because my mom would always make them like super huge, but just like you grow into it. And then later on I saw that I actually did grow into them, and I really liked them. So they all were like uniquely made, and but I don't know if I answered your question, because I feel like that's really the only way. Like in Suriname, the fashion scene isn't like here. Here we have much more access because a lot of people there are more poor because it's or less fortunate, I could say, because of it being a third world country. And in Amsterdam, it's a little more high end because it's kind of like here, it's like Western. So we have a great fashion sense in Amsterdam, but not the same Suriname don't, but it's like more accessible. I think that Amsterdam is great as far as fashion is concerned, but at some point I was also bored with the fashion there because everybody was so fashionable to the point where they all look the same. You know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it was hard to stand out because everybody had the same ripped jacket, jean jacket, with the same jeans and the same shoes. Everybody at some point was wearing New Balance, and that was the reason I never bought any. Because when I was living there, everybody had them. Everybody had the Huaraches, you know what I mean? Like everybody's so fashionable to where they are no longer unique.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's happening kind of here.
Right, it's just like stand out. Find some way to stand out.
Without being too, I feel like, okay, so this is something that I love talking about too, is because I feel like there's this space where it's like body positivity or are we seeking attention? I don't know if we are really defining that. As a stylist, you have to really consider what feeling do you want your client to give off when they wear that because there's an energy that comes with clothing too. We don't talk about that, but there's an energy that comes with, oh, you look like a boss. Oh, thank you. Oh, you look like a, well, you could give either one depending on a very slight one of these. It can be, it could be as simple as a zipper. So I feel like we really, really, really have to do a better job at not just going with the what's that thing called, with the agenda. Like you have to be able to unassign yourself from that. If we're talking school terminology, like unassign yourself from the agenda and really be able to do things for your client that's going to make them look good in the long term, not just what's trending. Because I feel like that's such a big thing right now. It's like, okay, wear the least amount of clothes, show the most cleavage. Like, we're showing up in lingerie every event. Like,
it's tiresome at this point.
I mean, I will always say there's a time and a place.
It is.
And that's in the Bible. Time and a place for everything. So I just want people to, you know, expand your thinking. You don't have to wear that. I feel like, and also giving your client a space to say, that's not who I am.
Right.
I give my clients a space to say, now sometimes it depends on the situation, obviously, but there's a borderline between knowing who you are and having boundaries. And I think that's important to establish with your clients too.
Yeah, I think so too. And now we have this thing where, like, you know, like Lizzo, she'll be pretty much naked on Instagram. And then you have like a slimmer model who does the same thing, and people are like, well, if it was this person, you would have said nothing, but if since it's Lizzo, you have all this to say. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like,
either way, something to the imagination of the man. At this point, my nephews are on Instagram now. I don't need them seeing nothing. Okay, put it away. Show nothing. Like, just cover all the girls. Cover all the girls, all the men. I'm not even gonna just single out.
Men be naked too.
They be showing a lot without showing a lot. Okay, put it away. I want you to see all that. Y'all are causing temptation, and I have a clean mind. Clean mind. Try to keep it that way. But some people, they just want to throw it out there. But again, are you seeking attention? And what attention do you seek? Because you're gonna get whatever attention that you're asking for.
Yeah, and a lot of times they're not realizing that these things will never go away. And now when you have kids, your kids might see those things. And for some people, it's totally fine. They don't care, you know. But others are now like, I wish I didn't do that. You know, so it's like whatever you put out there, be mindful of it. However you dress, be mindful of it, because they also say you're as good as your last 5 posts on Instagram.
I ain't never heard that before. Let me look back at my phone real quick. I don't know what I posted, but that's so true. I think Denzel was talking about it. He's like, we're in an age where you have people that are seeking this attention at an all-time high. He's like, this one thing if you were seeking attention and you just had these people, like you had your group of friends and you took your photos and everything stayed in Tennessee, right? Gallons in Tennessee, gallons in high school at that. But now you take that and multiply it to the millions, and now the entire world can see you.
Watching.
Like, you get 1 million views. Imagine 1 million people being in a stadium watching you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's insane.
How would you feel?
So like you said, just be mindful of what you're putting on, because it doesn't go away if it's on the internet. Someone screenshots that thing, someone's screen recording that, sharing it with friends. Like, you don't know where your posts are going, so you gotta make sure that that energy that you are putting out there is what you want to live on forever from you.
Yeah, it's what you want to be known by. You know?
And I think too, just to wrap it up on my end, because I'm not gonna have to wrap up, but one thing I think about is like, okay, if this was my last post that I ever posted in the world, like if I died tomorrow and people still saw my story or still saw my post, like what would I want that to be? And that's kind of deep and kind of sad, but it's like I really consider that when I'm saying something, like, okay, be mindful and intentional behind these posts. Don't just, so I can't just post something that just has like a little quick lyric. Sometimes I can, and I used to, but as I've gotten older, I feel like I need to say something that's like gonna help someone push through the next part of their day, you know.
That's really good. I like that a lot.
I be trying to be a little bit, you know, on my Dr. Seuss and my Dr. What's his name? Dr.
Humor. No.
Well, probably not that one. He's a little out there. No offense. He's a good guy.
The only doctor that came to my mind is Dr. Sebi.
Well, I was gonna say Dr. Phil, but you know, it's very opposite of what you were gonna say. So I was like, let me just be quiet.
Let's take it back to something lighter. You know what we had in common? Yes. My mom would teach me how to make little clothes for my dolls. Yeah, so and I think she did that to distract me so that she would keep me busy while she was working on her design. So we actually have that in common.
I love that. So how old were you when you first started? Do you remember?
I don't know exactly. I always said I was gonna ask my mom this, but I want to say about 5. I think I was about 5 hand sewing. And so now whenever I hand sew, I just really love. Like whenever I hand sew, I just feel like I forget about the world and it's just my thing. And people love my hand sewing. They're always like, this is really staying. And I'm like, baby, this didn't come yesterday. This is like when I was
in the decades. Decades.
About 20 years.
Oh yeah, you're so young. You have so much wisdom, you know?
And so do you. So we're coming to the end of this interview. I really appreciate you. I thank you for your time. And of course, I'd like to gift you this present.
Okay, so I open it?
Yeah, you can. Just to say thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your fashion views. Actually, before you open it, what is your view on fashion?
My view on fashion? I feel like fashion is like lemon cake with chocolate icing. Like it's fulfilling. I mean, if it okay, I won't say that. I won't limit it. I won't limit the flavors. I'll say it's like your favorite food. You know, I feel like fashion has all the flavors. It's zesty sometimes. It's a little bit citrusy, but it has that crunch in it. And it's also a little bit creamy. So it's like almost like a pasta, but with crunchy chicken or crunchy vegetables.
I like how you include me.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, you're not all carnivores. But you know, I would say that's also how I was able to fuse them together. It's like if I think about life and fashion and food terminology, people get it. So it's like you can savor and feel and taste like, oh. So when I think about a cute outfit, it's like, okay, this outfit might be zesty today because it has some extra ruffles in it. It's, you know, I have my earrings that match it or something like that. But I feel like overall, like my view on fashion has definitely expanded as I've been in Atlanta because there's so much diversity within the people here. Coming from a small town, you see so much of overalls and cowboy boots and camouflage things. So coming here, it's like, oh, like we wear pumps to Publix. Okay, got it. Target is like also bougie. Like it's a different culture. It's a different culture in this space. But I really, really love just being able to express myself through fashion and be able to enter rooms because of my fashion and because of my style. I feel like people have a way, you're gonna judge. No judgment. No, you're judging. You're judging, definitely judging. But I feel like you want the right kind of judgment. You want people to put you in position, put you in place because of how you carry yourself. And I feel like how you carry yourself starts with how you put yourself together in the day. So yeah.
So that is it.
So that's my view.
How you put yourself together in the day, Thank you for sharing your fashion views. You may open. I'm excited for you to open it.
Okay, so I'm gonna be like really, should I be cute with it and try to like be nice?
No, right for the butt.
I'm like, wait, is this a cookbook? Is the cookbook? Okay, just kidding. I saw this. I thought it was popcorn. I was like, oh, this is so cute. Thank you so much. I have notebooks on my table, and that's why you asked me that. I thought that was a part of like the interview. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Okay. So we picked this one for you because we know that your fashion icon is Tyra Banks, and I know that she's featured in this book.
Oh, absolutely. I love Tyra. So you asked me why I even chose her, and the reason I chose Tyra Banks was, I think I wrote it, but I'll tell y'all too because y'all didn't see it. But she was in that movie with I guess it's the little redhead girl. I forget her name. Either way, Logan.
Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah. Sorry, girl. Lindsay Lohan. and it's called Life Size. And I remember like watching that movie and growing up just seeing dolls, because you know we all grew up with dolls for the most part, and just being able to see that in person and see how she carried herself and developed as a person. I don't know, it's just so iconic. And then she did so many other things outside of that and expanded the fashion industry from, you can be, I mean, she probably started off, everyone needs to be a size 0 and below, but I feel like since then the fashion industry has also grown to be more, like I remember auditioning for fashion shows and not getting it because I was too thick, like I wasn't the right size, I wasn't the right height, and now I can go to auditions if I want to and be like, okay, I'm
There's a lot more inclusion now.
We needed that. So
Yeah, we do.
I'm proud of it. So thank you so much.
You're
I appreciate you. This is so sweet.
You're so welcome. Thank you once again.
course.
I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. I will. I gotta like walk through it tonight with my champagne. You know, just like I love that.
Alright guys, this was our fashion fuse with Victoria. I hope you guys enjoyed it so much. I did.
Yes.
I hope you did too.
I did. I love this. Like I love the conversation. So
Yeah, it was a really great fashion fuse.
I gotta-
So thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.